Hi everybody, good morning. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. It's just a quick review of things we have already seen. We're going to continue with the elements of narrative, right? So the elements of storytelling. We're going to review them very quickly, and then I'm going to explain what your assignment for today, September 23, is going to be. Please make sure that you watch the entire video so you can know exactly what you have to do, and make sure you get it done on time. So again, we're talking about narrative. A narrative is a story. It is the account of events, experiences, and details. It also refers to the storytelling process. So remember, narrative is simply a story, right? The elements of a narrative are plot, character, setting, theme, point of view, and tone. Again, the elements of narrative are plot, character, setting, theme, point of view, and tone. We're going to go ahead and move on. So we're going into detail once again over the elements of narrative. So we're starting off with plot, right? Our favorite. We've heard about plot over and over and over, and we should already know that when we hear plot, we think of our plot diagram, right? So a plot is a sequence of events. Remember, it's what tells us what's happening right after each other. It's the beginning, middle, and end of a story. A plot is made out of 6 elements. We have our exposition, our rising action. We also have our conflict, our climax, our falling action, and our resolution, right? So again, when we think of plot, we think of the plot diagram, right? We have our exposition where we are exposed, we're introduced to the setting, the character, and then they start introducing the conflict, right? We learn who's the antagonist, who is the character that's causing the conflict, right? And then we have the rising action, which is usually where all the drama happens, right? When one thing right after the other happens and you're like, oh my God, this can get worse, right? And then it gets worse. And then it starts building up the tension to that climax, which is our turning point. Remember, the tone is not going to be the same with the rising action when it's building up to the climax versus when it's falling away from the climax, right? Usually the one going up is a little bit more suspenseful, and the one in the other side is the opposite, right? There's something that has changed, right? Our climax is like our switch, our light switch, right? We have that turning point. So then we go into our falling action, which is where things start falling into place, right? We start getting that solutions to our problems. And then we have our resolution, which is another word for our conclusion, right? And that we get to know what's happening at the end and what was the ending of the story. Then we move on to character. A character is a person, animal, being, or thing in a story. There's many types of characters, but the ones that we focus on are a protagonist, which is a main character. This is the person that usually the story revolves around. We also have the antagonist, which is a character or a group of characters that cause the conflict, which is the problem for our protagonist. And our secondary character is called a minor character, and that one usually is the sidekick or the best friend, and they're usually always supporting the major characters, right? Okay, now we're moving on to setting. Very easy, right? Our setting is the time and place of the story. There's 2 types of setting, right? We have the physical and the chronological. The physical setting is the where of the story. Are you in a castle? Are you in space? Are you in jail, right? Where are you? Where are you standing? Where's the character in? And then we have chronological. Our chronological setting is when, right? Is it taking place in 2020? Is it taking place in 1400s? Is it taking place in the future, right? When is it taking place? Is it a month? Is it a year? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? Is it 100 years, right? We want to know what is the chronological setting of our story. So again, the setting is the when and where, right? Then we have theme. Theme is the underlying message that the writer would like to get across. Remember, this is when you're done reading, what kind of message did you get, right? Is love eternal? Is friendship until you die, right? Like, what is the message that you got, right? Oh, bravery is better than, I don't know, maybe being someone who isn't honest, right? One key characteristic of literary themes is the universality, right? Universe means everyone that is human gets to relate to that certain topic or question or whatever it is, right? That message that they want us to take ourselves after we're done reading. So themes are ideas that can not only apply to specific characters and events of a book or play, but also express broader truths about human experience that readers can apply to their own lives. So again, theme is the underlying message. What is the message that the author is trying to get across? And then we have many types of themes, but these are some that usually pop up. We have judgment, survival, peace and war, love, heroism, good and evil, circle of life, suffering, deception, and coming of age. And again, remember, these aren't the only ones. So there could be different types of themes in our stories that are not represented in this chart. So then we have tone. Tone is an attitude of a writer towards a subject or an audience, right? What is your tone? What is their attitude, right? Tone is generally conveyed through the choice of words or the viewpoint of the writer on a certain subject, right? So depending on how the author feels, you're going to be able to tell by the way they choose their words, right? If they're angry, then their words might be a little bit more hurtful. They might be a little bit more offensive, right? That's how you know, oh, they're angry, right? So think about, okay, how do you know when someone's mad at you through a text, right? They send a K with a period, right? And you're like, they're mad, right? Why? Because of they chose to send you a K with a period to let you know that they're angry, right? They didn't send an okay, or they didn't spell out the whole word. So you're able to pick up on that tone very quickly, right? So that's the kind of idea we want to get when we're reading our books. And again, point of view, we have first person, second person, and third person, right? First person is the main characters telling the story. So if we think about the Castle Diary, Tobias was the first person. Point of view was in first person. He did use I, me, we, my, ours, our, right? And then we have second person. The author or narrator is telling you the story to you, the reader, right? So the person in the story is telling you the story. And they usually use keywords like you, yours, and then they have third person. The author or narrator is telling the story, but it's not part of it. So that's the difference between second and third. Second, the person is inside the story and it's telling you the story. The third person, that person is not a character in the story, right? It's either the author or the narrator, right? And they're telling you the story, but they're not part of it. And there's two types of third person. There's limited and omniscient. Limited just means that we don't get to hear what the characters are thinking. We only get to know what they're describing and what we're seeing, right? Omniscient lets us know what they're doing, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and what's going on in their head, right? Like their emotions, their opinions, all that sort of thing. And then we have keywords for third person is he, she, it, they, and them. So super awesome. Again, we already had briefly reviewed those things. Now we're going to talk about the assignment, right? So this is what you're going to do for the rest of the period. It doesn't mean we're going to close our laptops and we're going to go to sleep or we're going to go do something else, play video games. This will be due by tomorrow at 11:59, right? But I expect for everyone to at least get one of these done by today, by the end of class time, right? So you're going to read the Pardoner's Tale. So we're going back to the Canterbury Tales. You're going to read the Pardoner's Tale, which is pages 61 through 71. And then you're going to complete the Pardoner's Tale narrative elements assignment. Then after you're done with that one, you're going to go ahead and read the Miller's Tale in pages 18 through 25 of the Canterbury Tales. And then you're going to complete the Miller's Tale narrative elements assignment. So as you can see, the names are very similar, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what the assignments look like. So they're going to be posted in your general page, but this is what the assignments are going to look like, right? So let's say you do the Pardoner's Tales first. It's the exact same thing. The only thing that changes is that the name, right, and the pages that you're going to read, but the style of the homework is the same. So you're going to read the Pardoner's Tale located in the Canterbury Tale books in pages 61 through 71. You have to read it. If not, you're not going to be able to answer the questions. So once you're done reading, you have to remember what a narrative is, which is a story, right? And it's the account of events, experiences, and details, and it refers to the storytelling process. And then I gave you a quick reminder of what the elements of narrative are. And this is what your assignment looks like. So as you can see, this is the first thing you see, the Partner's Tale plot. Make sure to read the Partner's Tale before starting the assignment. You can find the reading here. So if you click this link right here, it's going to tell you you want to open it in Microsoft Teams or whatever, right? And once you do, it's going to take you directly where the reading is. If by any chance you don't have the book or you just don't want to open it, you can find it online. So I did put the link for you there. And once you're done reading, then you can go ahead and get started. So I went ahead and screenshotted the way that our plot diagram looks so you can kind of have a visual of what part of the plot diagram I'm talking about. So we're gonna pretty much just break down the plot of the story, right? I want to know what happened in the beginning, what happened in the middle, what happened in the end, right? So I want you to answer, what is happening in the exposition of the Partner's Tale? Okay, so if we remember, the exposition happens at the very beginning of our story, right? Usually we have to remember, and I went ahead and give you some clues right here. Remember, in the exposition, we are introduced to the characters, the setting, the conflict or problem of the story. So I want you to tell me what's happening, right? Who is in the story, right? And I don't necessarily talking about the partner himself. I'm talking about the characters in his story, right? So who are the characters? What are their names? What describe them, right? Tell me, where is it taking place, right? Where are they? Are they in the fields? Are they in a castle? Where are they, right? And then tell me, what is the problem that they're facing, right? In that story, what was the problem or the conflict that they were facing in the story? Once you're able to answer those three items, you don't have to answer 1, 2, 3. You have to answer in sentence format, right? So you can write something like, in the exposition of the Partner's Tale, the characters blank 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 are introduced. The story takes place in blank blank blank. The conflict in the story is blank blank blank. There, you answered the question. Now let's move on to the next one. What are the rising actions and climax of the Partner's Tale, right? So now we're thinking we have to make sure that we know what we read so we can answer the paragraph, right? So again, remember that the rising action is when the tension is being built up. Most of the drama happens in this part of the story, right? So think about what was the most, the section of the book where they were, or the events that were building up to the climax, right? And then remember, the climax is the turning point in the story. So you're going to know exactly the point that is the most tension. That's where the climax is, right? So tell me, what is a climax, and the climax is the turning point in the story. And you need to tell me what happened that changed the events in the story, right? So what did it go from this to this? How do you know there was a switch? Right? So here, how could you answer this question? Well, Ms. Nevares is asking, what are the rising actions and climax of the Partner's Tale? Well, this and this happened, and this led to blank and blank and blank, which caused them to end up blank and blank and blank. This left the story at the climax in blank and blank, right? So you're telling me what led to the climax and what exactly is the climax of the story, right? Then we move on to the last part, right? We have the falling action and the resolution. What are the falling actions and resolution of the Partner's Tale? Remember, the falling action is when things start getting resolved and when things start falling into place, right? Remember, the resolution is the conclusion. What happened at the end? Was there a happy ever after? Was there not a happy ever after, right? So, Ms. Nevares, how do you want me to answer this? You could say something like, once the climax was resolved, this and this started falling into place, or this and this led to the resolution, right? The resolution was that they lived happily ever after, or they didn't. They all died. Whatever the resolution was, right? The ending doesn't always have to be a good one. So then that's the ending, and then you click next. And it, of course, is going to ask you to type them in, but I'm just going to go to my form so you can see what the last two questions look like. So then the last one is asking you about the theme. What is the theme of the Partner's Tale? How do you know, right? Well, the theme of the Partner's Tale is blank, right? If you don't know what theme is, look up types of themes in stories and you'll get plenty to choose from, right? If you don't know how to come up with one. And then what is the tone of the partner's tale? How do you know? What words does the author use, right? So here, I want you to tell me what do you think the tone is and how do you know? And I want you to use some textual evidence to tell me in quotes, right? He said this directly. So then you finish the partner's tale assignment, and the Miller's tale is the same format.